Hey everyone, this is session number 6 with Hank, and then just really quick, I'm on a time crunch. I have to go pick up a new training horse that's a town away or so. I have to go do that really soon. I forgot my treat pouch up at the barn and I wouldn't have had time to go and grab it. I'm a little bloated because I just ate lunch, and Lynx threw his medicine all over me, so my pants are covered with white gross ulcer medicine, so just bear with me here. What we're going to do today is work on the desensitization in motion with the flag. So a lot of the time we focus on them standing still and accepting that contact, the sound, the movement, whatever it is, and reward them when they're either standing still or relaxed. Regardless, either way, both are good. Relaxed is preferred, but we tend to forget to work on it while they're in motion and having them relax with the flag touching them, pool noodle, tarp, whatever it is. We want them to be relaxed as we're doing that when they're walking, trotting, cantering, all of that. So I'm going to test that really quick with the flag, and then I'm going to tack him up again, put a rope on the stirrup, and start swinging it around while he's moving and see if that is his main trigger. So let's get started. I do still have my treats with me. They're just all in my pocket. I ran to my trailer and grabbed them really quick, so I'm still going to be able to reward him. Good boy. So really quick, just as he's standing still, and then I'm going to go right into the walk because we've done quite a few days of desensitizing with him standing still. Good boy. Good. So how I do it at the walk, because sometimes they get a little confused and think that I'm wanting them to stand still. Good boy. Good. I just ask them to start moving around while keeping the object on their body. Sometimes initially it's just still, not in motion. Good. So that was a little bit of a sensitive area for him. So I'm going to reward the fact that he took a couple steps afterwards. Again, ask him to go forward. Trying to get in between his legs a little more. Good boy. Good. A big one for horses that tend to want to strike or have issues with things under their nose is touching their chest and having them walk forward into it. So before I do the other direction, I'm going to bump him up to the trot this way. He seems to be doing pretty well with this and not reacting all too much. Good boy. Super. So some hesitation with him kind of looking back to check in and see if he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. But for the most part, he's traveling forward. Good boy. He's traveling forward very nicely with me touching him with this. Good boy. Good. Anytime there's hesitation with him, I'm going to keep asking him to go on, and the second there's some sort of release that I see is when I reward. Good boy. So just like all the other sessions, I'm really watching his eye, his ears, his head, his neck. I'm listening to his breath, if he's holding it, if he's exhaling, all that good stuff. All right, and up to the trot. Good boy. So there was a little bit of a worried eye in that very last second. Feel the hindquarters, good boy. But what I started to do was touch his body, but then when he got a little too far away, I used that as an opportunity to do some sound desensitizing while he's moving without adding energy for him to increase his speed, if that makes sense. So he's a little confused there. I'm just going to stick with it till I see relaxation. His eyes are turned to the outside, but he's bending in towards me to try to relieve some of it. Good. So there's a slight moment there where he relaxed. Good boy. And I'm going to do that one more time, and then I'm going to move on. I'm really happy with his reaction here. So there's a super big difference between active energy and kind of like that passive stance. So that was active energy. I brought my chest up, I put my hand out, and now this whip arm with the flag is very passive. Now it's a little bit difficult for you guys to possibly see the difference because I'm moving with him, I'm moving towards him, trying to keep him trotting, but I'm not putting any energy through this flag right here. So I'm trying to keep the left part of my body relaxed. Good. So by doing that, good boy. I'm going to ask him to come in a little bit closer. Good. Drop. Good boy. Good. And that can be super tricky. So I know it didn't look absolutely beautiful, but that is the answer that I was looking for. I don't need him to be like super submissive and perfect with it because I also know that this horse knows a lot of different cues, and I'm probably confusing him some of the times because I know there's this thing called, I might be wrong, but Clinton Anderson people correct me if you need to, it's called circle driving, which is when you're kind of side by side with the horse and you have your stick on their withers and you're walking next to them. It's kind of to prep for liberty circles in some sense, and or maybe potentially sending. It could prep for that in a way. So some of the times when my arm was out with the whip and it was over him while he was trotting around, he might have been thinking that, so I just kind of had to good boy, just had to reassure him that what I was looking for was just him to move forward with a little bit of relaxation while I moved around and made sound, movement, and whatnot. Alright, so I'm going to tap him up. Good boy. And get to moving him out. And you guys probably don't need to see him getting tacked up because it was fairly uneventful yesterday, so I'll just cut to the part where he's moving around. Good boy. So that was pretty interesting. I'm going to add that in and hopefully you guys can see what was going on. Good boy. I know I wasn't talking during it because I wasn't going to show tacking him up, but hopefully you can at least see his head and what he was doing. When I would reach my hand under to grab the girth, every single time he would back up as a response, so I just kept waiting, and then with my hand on the lead rope, I would urge him forward every time he backed up without fully grabbing the girth, and then when he took a step forward, I released the girth and then went back to it until I was able to pull up the girth with my hand underneath and him not back up, and then I gave him a reward for it. Good. So I'm going to reward him there too, just for standing. Take him a couple steps away, and then I'm going to tighten it up one more foal. And today is the day we're going to do moving the stirrup. So one more foal up. I think I talked about girth snugness in the last video. You don't want to be cutting them in half, but you do want to make sure it's staying on them. Good boy. so I want to always reward the trot right now with him before I ask him to canter. Just to really reinforce that he's alright. Good. Trot. Canter. Super. That was the way he was sensitive yesterday too. I couldn't even remember which way it was. That was fantastic. I know. Good release, bud. Good boy. So really soft, gentle correction there when he was about to start going out the wrong way. Could have been something to do with my body language and how I was kind of presenting it. I may have asked him by standing a little too close. So the easiest thing to do there is just a really gentle correction to help him out, guide him over, and then send him out again. Trot. So this way, I'm not going to reward quite as small this time. I'm going to wait until I get the walk, trot, and canter. Good boy. Canter. Good. Good. So a little bit of worry in his face that way today. Good. I like that he just released on his own when I clucked to him and called him in. Super. Okay, now with this, all I'm doing is taking a lunge line right now, putting it on the stirrup, hopefully. I'm sure I could just clip directly to the stirrup. Maybe not, maybe it doesn't. Alright, so all I'm doing right now is just clipping a lunge line to the stirrup, and what I'm going to have it do, I'll show you at the standstill first, we'll see how this goes, is pull it out to the side while he's in motion. Good boy. Okay, so this is something that I can do at the standstill right now. Not only does it give the visual effect, but it's something that he can feel on his side too. Okay, so like for a warm blood that maybe has a little bit more spring, a little bit more movement, when they're going around, the stirrups kind of swing all over. They don't have quite as much control when they're young like this, and I'm working them the first time. This horse is broke and he knows how to ride, so this is his restart, so he has had this stuff before. But with him, he's a bit of a more smooth trot, and I'm sure he's like very comfortable to ride. So when he's trotting around like this, the stirrups aren't swinging all over and knocking him like in different places. So to prep him for that, if it ever happens while I'm on him for some odd reason, this is how we're going to prep for it. Okay, so I'm going to ask him to go out and start moving the stirrup around. Good. Trying to get it back to his flank area. Trot. This is a good step before tying anything to the saddle, because what I can do is have it make motion and noise, and technically, yes, it's attached to him, but it's kind of at my discretion whether it's moving or not. Right? Because I can be super quiet and put my arm forward with this rope and have it settle, or I can bump it out like this. Now that time when I kind of pulled it out, that caused him to shoot forward a little more. So I'm going to wait, shoot again. Good. Very nice. Good boy. Good. We'll do a little bit at the canter. Good boy. And then we'll try the other side. And trot. Canter. So a little bit of him holding his breath here. Good boy. And he kind of pulled out more and made his circle bigger on the lunge line. Good job. And I'm going to be okay with that. I'm not going to force him to stay on that small circle, whatever he's most comfortable with for right now. The biggest change I just noticed today, and I already mentioned it earlier, is he is releasing on his own now when he comes into me. Like when I'm rewarding him, he's releasing before he gets to me. Good boy. It doesn't really have to be prompted with the treats. He knows that he did the right thing. So that's pretty cool to see him do a lot of exhales today and a lot of unlocking his jaw on his own. All right, buddy. Next side. Good. Super. And Trot. Good. Yes, sir. So I'm just going to stick with it, keep doing it. Good boy. So a little bit of relaxation there, so I'm going to reward him and send him back out. So now I know that I need to do the pillows next, because what happened, good boy, was as soon as the stirrup got moving, he was okay, but then when it got a certain angle to it and went up and kind of touched his hindquarters, he got a little worried there. I know, you definitely got worried. All right, one more time on this side. Good. So he's pretty good with his sides being touched, but it's going to be his hind end now that I'm going to focus on in the next session. Trot. Canter. Canter. Good. Yep. Good boy. Good. I don't know if that time was on screen, but it had a really good bop on his hindquarters, and there wasn't really a reaction from it. Good boy. So another thing, when I get on him, I'm going to have to remember that touching the hindquarters, especially while at the walk, trot, canter, while we're in motion, I'm going to have to pay really close attention and just be ready for whatever reaction, but hopefully with the pillows ahead of time I can work him through that. I also still need to ground drive or long line him at some point, whichever way you want to call it. But I'm pretty happy with that session. I know you guys have seen him untack before and it's pretty uneventful, so I'm going to cut the filming here, take the tack off of him, and that's going to be it for this session. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for the next one.